A Mountain with Stories by Ki-dong Kim. Chapter 1. The Dream of a Rainbow. Home. When Koreans meet people for the first time, they tend to ask, "Where is your hometown?" I was probably asked that question dozens of times. Every time I encounter this question, I hesitate to give an answer because I don't have just one hometown where I grew up. I was born in Seosan town in Chungnam province and moved to Seongwan town of Cheonan district when I turned 3 years old. I resided in this town until I became 12. Then, during the January 4th, 1951 retreat of the Korean War, I moved to another town near Wolsan. I moved to Yesan when I turned 15 and made another move when I became 23. Thus, I really can't say, so and so is my hometown. Every house I resided in has memories, but I can't pick one and call it a home. Since I had the toughest time in Yesan, I used to say that Yesan was my hometown. But every time I mentioned Yesan, I felt uncomfortable about it deep in my heart. I couldn't decide. Is my birthplace my home? Perhaps the mountain where I used to climb and gather firewoods? Maybe it's the place where I played soldiers with my friends. So, depending on who asked the question, my home was Yesan one day and Cheonan another day. I felt like a liar. I attended Imseong Middle School. For the school's 40th anniversary celebration, hundreds of people from schools and institutions within the province were invited. The principal of the school, Sang Jae-lee, gave a special speech about me. Pastor Ki-dong Kim is the first graduate of our school. Since the inception of this school, he was like a mascot. He struggled with poverty, moved from one place to another. He has no place where he can call home. However, as we commemorate the school's 40th anniversary, I'd like to announce today that this school is his home. There followed a big round of applause. On the same day, the school unveiled a natural stone monument engraved with a Chinese calligraphy, "Purpose with the heart and fulfill it with the body." It was placed in the middle of the school field. On the other side was a sculpture of the principal. They also placed a statue of me as a memorial to honor my victory over poverty and hardship in life. Though I agreed to build the principal's sculpture, I strongly objected to building this statue of me. If my image were engraved on a rock, then many people would misunderstand and question me since I'm a Christian. As the president of an alumni association, I gave donations to fulfill the school's needs at times. Yet, I never expected the school to construct a statue of my image as a memorial. I attended the ceremony, but I felt uncomfortable and awkward. At the same time, deeply apologetic and embarrassed. I couldn't find peace. The principal said that he even had to get permission from the school board in order to erect the statue in the school, which made me feel even more embarrassed, bashful, and uneasy. Although the celebration ended successfully, my heart was still burning with anxiety. The school said that the statue was built for educational purposes, but ever since this ceremony, I felt ashamed and unsettled to revisit my school. I was emotionally overwhelmed to hear the principal announcing that this middle school was my home, because I was always unsure of where my home was. The restless feeling about the statue vexed my heart, but I accepted and decided to call this place my home. As expected, I was and still am persecuted and insulted by few people concerning this matter. They took photos of my statue from different angles and created pamphlet to voice that Ki-dong Kim built a statue to set himself as an idol to worship. There are many other articles that have been circulated to attack me. If I weren't a Christian, then perhaps there wouldn't be such a strong attacks against me for having the statue. Also, if this incident occurred in other countries, then maybe I wouldn't receive such disparaging remarks. I didn't erect the statue. Rather, it was the school that had built and placed it solely for scholastic purpose in the school field. No matter what I say, persecutors wouldn't believe my words. To this day, they still continue to destroy my honor. If this statue belonged to me, then I would tear it down right away. Yet, it was school's property. This troubles me almost every day, but I have resolved to face this courageously. My home is a place of many disturbing words, a place of my statue that aches my heart. There are many other places that I used to call home because of memories that I have made, but I call this place my home. Ironically, my heart agonizes because of my home. Who would understand my heart? Yet, I don't hold grudges for what the school has done. Instead, I thank them. Who has ever had their own statue placed for academic purposes in the school that they graduated from. This isn't even a seminary school or an institute that offers religious courses. It is just a middle school, a place where the foundational education is established. If it weren't for my statue, then I would have undeniably embraced the school as my home. I was fighting poverty at home when I enrolled as a student in this school. But the school's conditions were no better. This school was actually a public education center during the Korean War. The poor children among the refugees were the ones receiving classes. The Yangmak Methodist Church and Yesan Confucian Temple would gather disenfranchised children to enroll there. The students' ages varied from 13 years old to 29 years old. Clerks, shoeblacks, chicken sellers, newspaper boys, deliverers, firewood carriers, and even beggars were enrolled as students. Formerly, I worked as a rent boy at the school principal's house to feed myself. I also used to attend night school classes with a little oil lamp without any electricity. Finally, I was transferred to Insong Middle School as a 6th grade student when I was actually in 8th grade. So I was in the same level as the 6th grade students. In other words, I graduated on the same year as the students who were 2 years younger than me. Since I was already late in my education compared to others, I graduated middle school at the age of 21 when others would normally graduate at 16. It finally took 9 years to accomplish my goal as a middle school student. Thus, I was not embarrassed by the announcement the principal made at the ceremony. The middle school was my home. I grew up in this school while all the passion, tears, exhaustion, hunger, humiliation, alienation, and inferiority stifled me. I served as the president of the school council. Thus, my middle school also saw me as a significant figure that achieved academic heights despite the difficult circumstances. I now proudly say that this middle school is my home, and I love this school more than anyone could love. It has been 45 years since I was a student here, but I can still recall all the memories right before my eyes.